Hello there, creatures, and welcome back to Encounter This. I am James Anemone Kid, and this week we are going to be covering Qlippoth Lords, as our good buddy and co-host Freeman, 1 in a billion, teased at the end of last episode. 1 in a billion.
If I had $1 billion, it wouldn't go very far in this economy. Let's talk about Qlippoth Lords.
Hey there, creatures, and welcome to Encounter This, a podcast exploration of the creatures from Pathfinder 2nd Edition and the lore that surrounds them.
Qlippoth Lords, the tried and true, the ones who stuck around, the ones who didn't convert to demonism. The ones who we initially alluded to in the first episode, the ones who have a goal. I tell you right now, they are not well organized, and it's not a very collective goal. Okay? This is because I'm thinking, despite the fact that the Pathfinder and Paizo in second edition and the remaster have removed alignment, this is all strongly rooted in a realm of chaos. So there is a sense of disorganization, as it were. So you can imagine a lot of these Qlippoths are very frustrated with their position, but we're not talking about some sort of organized pantheon of creatures. No way, no how. They are just as varied, if not as deeply described as the Demon Lords, and they have their own sort of personalities and motivations, which you'll find along the way, which is kind of cool, despite the fact they're supposed to be extremely alien. Let's talk about the first one. I'm going to take the lead on all of these because they're not as meaty as before, but James has some wicked real world stuff for us afterwards. So let's talk about the first one. It's super wicked and it's awesome. It's going to be the bread and butter of this episode. Let's talk about CHAVAZVUG, the crawling inferno.
The crawling inferno.
A mound of digestive organs that drools fire, held up by 5 long, thin legs with dripping entrails dangling and twitching from its mass.
And for audio listeners, that's exactly what it looks like. It's awful.
It's disgusting. It looks as moist as Yadothris lich.
Definitely glistens in the sun.
Right? He basically his entire body steams with heat that can set a creature on fire with a touch. Resides in a very deep rift cavern filled with boiling lakes of bile and seepage. There's a good word for you.
Cool guy right here.
He's exactly who you don't invite to your parties.
Just imagine the sewers were on fire at all times, and that's what it smells like anywhere you're near this thing.
His hatred for demons is particularly strong, and he can regenerate his body after being killed within one of his boiling lakes. He regularly goes on suicidal assaults on demonkind, killing as many as possible and regenerating so that he can perform another one. That's what he do. His hatred of demons distracts him almost completely from mortals and their worship. He don't give a fuck. He is there to kill demons over and over and over, constantly dying and regenerating. Those who do manage to worship him, though, are usually very solitary pyromaniacs who consider spontaneous combustion the ultimate fate.
Oh, also seem like cool people.
Right.
That's a fun club. Ultimate goal is to be lit on fire from the inside whenever it just happens.
Pretty much. So that's it. Short and sweet. That's what it's going to look like here with the Qlippoth Lords, but they are very flavorful. And this one is particularly absurd. A certain type of insanity really stokes you to worship this thing. If you should you find yourself leaning towards pyromantic tendencies, James, you could torture a living creature with red hot brands or small fires and meditate on the cries of pain and scent of scorched flesh, and that would mark you obedient to this creature, and you would gain yourself a little bonus to saving throws against fire-based effects.
Feels like it'd be easier to worship Gorum or Vulcan.
Probably, yeah. But that there is CHAVAZVUG, the Crawling Inferno. The next one we're going to cover is actually we don't have an image of per se. We have an image, but we want to talk about GHOLZ. I've written here the Untitled because they're basically GHOLZ is long dead and mostly forgotten. Was once associated with an unlawful intrusions. Sorry, let me take that again. Once associated with unlawful intrusions and magical lures. Appearance of GHOLZ is completely forgotten, can only be inferred by its victims. No description of victims are given. However, spoilers for a 1E AP incoming right now. Return of the Rune Lords, the final AP. Book 2, it came from Hollow Mountain. An area that the PCs are meant to venture in contains a large pool of water. The walls contain mosaics of aquatic vistas, and a platform contains a statue of a hunched-over, twisted creature with a tentacle-infested mouth. I won't say any more but it's technically a creature in mid-transformation. And the stone statue nature is actually unconnected to GHOLZ. This creature was basically in mid-transformation. That transformation had something to do with GHOLZ, and but the stone statue what's the word? Petrification was from something else. But I'm not going to say anymore because it's just like mad spoilers at that point.
Right.
So we have this picture here. This is the closest thing anyone knows to what GHOLZ what kind of effect GHOLZ might have on the physical realm. That's it. It's like,
and
really
for audio listeners, it's a black obsidian statue in the traditional xenomorph pose, but it's got a bunch of writhing tentacles coming off its face, and where its eyes and mouth should be are what appear to be sphincters leaking acid.
Yeah. And you will notice that in this particular case, there is like a weird red gem in its mouth. Again,
I figured that was AP specific, so I wasn't going to touch on it.
I think it is. I actually don't remember. But yeah, it's in this particular image. That's what we see. It's very strange, very strange. But let's talk about the next creature that I can't help but try and say in a ridiculous pastiche of a German accent. ISPH-AUN-VULN. The feaster within.
This one's awesome.
There is no particular realm available for this creature that we know of. Just the outer rifts. It's specified. It is a human size. It looks much bigger in the picture, I think, but it is only human sized. But it is nothing but a maw of various anemone surrounded by roiling tendrils. She is wholly incorporeal. And made of nothing but vapor adorned with incandescent fragments of her victim's souls. So looks quite corporeal in this picture, but is very much not. She is vapor through and through. Easily one of the most powerful Qlippoth, second most, in fact, apparently. She actively works toward the goal of removing all sin through tactics like subtle possession and mental control. She is one of the tryhards for the Qlippoth goal. She very much enjoys possessing the right people to lead an entire nation to its own ruin, and she is worshipped on hundreds of planets within the universe, with most of the cultists unaware who they actually truly worship. Usually the cult leaders are charismatic, but brainwashed and lobotomized by ISPH-AUN-VULN herself. So the leaders make the cultists believe they're worshiping something else. Only the select few know what it truly is. And sacrifices are very common in these cults, usually by magic. Usually by magically launching someone from the top of a mountain to fall to their death. It's what? I don't know why, but that's for some reason that's what they do.
Ran out of ideas halfway through, I think.
Yeah, pretty much. And should you find yourself a strangely convinced cultist worshiping this creature, you could consume a handful of live parasites or infested flesh, and that would make you obedient. Quite simple and straightforward, giving you a bonus to saving throws against disease and parasitic infestations.
And for our audio listeners, this does in fact just look like a red shark's maw surrounded by tentacles with black flecks, which I'm guessing are the specks of the souls. Maybe
eyes. I don't know. It's hard to imagine
eyes
this
are the
creature.
little black dots around the maw.
Oh yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like as neat as this artwork actually is, it doesn't stand up to the description that we're given. Because how do you describe a toothy mod anemone that is made of vapor? How do you actually draw that? That's it's weird. It's tough.
I mean,
it's
Marvel did it with Goliath, so
I believe you. I don't know who that is.
yeah, it's not important.
It seldom is,
yeah,
James.
Yeah, fair. The art's good. Like it has good. The features of a face. Like even the tendrils on top kind of look like protruding brows.
But it's really just
not,
in the vein of a cacodemon from like Doom, and even
that's exactly what I was thinking. Yeah.
Which is like also, sorry, D&D, Beholder-esque. Like it's just like kind of in that vein of aesthetic, and it doesn't evoke. It's a weird creature made of vapor, but it is a cool artwork. It is a cool piece of art. We won't take that away from it. Let's talk about OAUR-OOUNG, the blistering womb. I feel like the way this name is spelled,
title.
It's
blistering
brutal, isn't
womb.
it? You may or may not remember the mention that I had of this creature in the previous episode, but I love the sound of that name because it really evokes like this thing is probably monstrous in size. And if it were to speak, it's just like, the whole thing just vibrates.
Yeah. For our audio listeners, it's this giant, pale, poisonous fungoid creature with a lot of blisters and fungoid eyes and gasping throats. But it has like these gills underneath, like a mushroom, and I imagine that's how it talks, is by compressing the gills and forcing air through it, and that's how you pronounce the name.
It's like a mushroom jellyfish, basically. And it has these tendrils of a jellyfish, which so it is actually described as about 120 feet long, but it says the tendrils extend for miles. So we don't really get that in this image, but it goes for an extraordinary length. And so, OAUR-OOUNG resides in an impossibly deep and immense, completely toxic, quote unquote, abyssal ocean. She has no lair. She has no lair, but endlessly floats, producing endless Qlippoth. many of which either drown or eaten by herself. And many, of course, also escape. But she's called the blistering womb on purpose because she is constantly producing new Qlippoth. She is one of the oldest and most powerful and most essential creatures to the Qlippoth charge, I guess. Cultists that worship her eagerly wish to become infected by Qlippoth and continue to live on from what they do. And you might recall from the first episode, they love to infect and basically turn you into something that can't create sin, can't do good or bad. It removes the concept from you. So cultists long for that when they worship this creature. They do not care that they will lose their memories and lose their lives in the process. They often reject their own racial identities, in fact, and modify their own bodies when they're worshiping. Many sacrifices are subjected to flesh warping in a bid to evolve the faithful and consume their enemies. It's crazy. In regards to THUSKCHOON, which we covered in the last episode, it was OAUR-OOUNG, this mother of Qlippoths, who first learned of THUSKCHOON's change when he was sort of like created discovered desire, and something was changing. And remember, the Qlippoth discovered this, and they were like, "Hold on a second." And the THUSKCHOON ran, but it turns out he ran because this mother was like, "Stop it, or I will destroy you." And he was like, "I'm out of here because I ain't gonna stop." It's a bad boy.
The mother waving the chastising protuberance.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So THUSKCHOON being the one Qlippoth, ex-Qlippoth lord that is famous for being produced by this creature, and has gotten away. There are some that say she is now currently growing something new and unprecedented within her womb, perhaps to rival exactly something like THUSKCHOON.
Cool. Growing a new lord.
Pretty much. I can't wait for that AP. we're playing that one. Hell yeah. If you wanted to be among those who want to eschew your identity, modify your body, and worship this creature in hopes of becoming a Qlippoth, you could, in fact, drink fouled water and maintain yourself on the edge of regurgitation for an hour.
Oh my God, that sounds awful.
That sounds so terrible. That is one of the worst things. Can you imagine?
Here's some gray water out of your pipes. Drink it and don't throw up for an hour.
You gain all you gain is a bonus against poison effects. Like, come on.
I don't think you need it after that. I think you're just building up your tolerance.
I would, because that is so brutal. If we were going to, I would translate that into maybe like can't you like the sickened condition, which is pretty can be pretty brutal. Yeah, like you can have bonuses against it, and it gives you the sickened condition, or and poisons can stay on there. Diseases, I'm sure, stay on there. Something like that. Yeah, or maybe just a big old bonus to all fortitude saves for anything that affects your stomach.
yeah, like eaten or ingested or something like that.
So good. Okay, so that is our blistering womb. We have another one to cover. This is the one we don't have an image for. There is no image available. We have a little bonus image we could throw up, I guess. It just shows us some of the stuff that is related to worshiping these gods back when alignment was a thing, areas of concern that they cover, domains, and weapons. Weapons are always an interesting one, the favored weapons. I find CHAVAZVUG is a heavy flail. ISPH-AUN-VULN is a longbow. The one we just covered is a trident. SHIGGARREB is the next one. SHIGGARREB, the marauding maw, which is a Ransur. Basically described as a bloated drider with multiple arms in a chitin-plated body with a split, deformed face. There's not much about SHIGGARREB. She is suspected to be a messenger of sorts for the other Qlippoth lords. It's kind of a strange role to be shunted into as a Qlippoth lord yourself.
Not necessarily. There was Apollo and Hermes, the messenger gods.
Sure. Yeah, sure. And I guess it does stand up a little bit when you discover that she also is known for leading invasions on their behalf. So she's a messenger and like a sort of general, I guess. She leads these in both the rifts and on the planets within the universe. The ground she walks on is influenced by her connection to the outer rifts and becomes twisted and warped as she walks.
Cool.
And in a place known as Deep Tolgoth, which is a massive cavern region of Orv, which is the deepest of the 3 layers of the Darklands, there is a central ziggurat, the Zolgath or troglodytes we previously discussed. There's a type of them called the really pinnacle ones, the ones that have that psychic awakening we talked about. They're called Thought Maws. And they're members of that species who did not lose their intelligence after the fall of what was once a great Zolgath empire. These are the creatures that are known to worship SHIGGARREB.
Cool.
And she bestows forbidden magic upon them. And they believe that the false sun within the cavern of Deep Tolgoth will one day become a portal to her realm that they can enter. And that's part of their belief system.
A ziggurat is just a pyramid.
Basically.
Yeah, I think it's specifically a 4-sided pyramid. I don't know. Go look it up, but it's essentially a pyramid.
Yeah, no, I could be wrong, but I feel like they're pretty similar to like the sort of Central American like Chichen Itza and that sort of thing, like that sort of squarish shape as opposed to a pointed shape.
Oh no, it's specifically a massive structure built in Mesopotamia.
Oh, Mesopotamia. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Google. Who knew?
Google. Who knew? In any case, if you wanted to join the Zolgath and their Thought Maws to worship SHIGGARREB, you could study texts on the tactics of war, particularly those involving the use of powerful magic. That seems like a pretty reasonable style of worship.
People are just going to do that anyway.
Yeah. It gives you something crazy. It gives you a bonus to your AC.
Not in 2E, it won't.
In 1E, it's a +1 bonus. So you know that's powerful. That's powerful. Even more powerful than 2E. I'll give you a bonus to your reflex saves, I think.
I was just thinking that. Like a +1 to reflex saves.
Yeah, reflex is a little more reasonable.
Or maybe like a +4 to... Or, I'm going to take this a different route. What if you just become trained in warfare lore? Or expert in warfare lore?
So like temporarily trained or expert in war. Yeah, no, I like that. That's really cool, actually.
Expert, I think, because you would have to be trained in order to study the texts of war, theoretically. So you just get a temporary expert boost.
Well, here's what I would say. If you want to just make it a little more complicated for yourselves, because why not? For like plan a consecutive, so like if someone studies the text for a week consecutively, they are trained through the week. If they manage to go through the second week, they're expert for that week, and then maybe they continue on through master and legendary. Match it with the level of the character. Don't get overboard, but like the more consistency they have,
so maybe there is a third level PC who's a master in warfare lore for a week. Like that doesn't seem that game breaking. Maybe in our campaign where a week is 150 episodes.
Yeah, and warfare lore is vague enough that that it's non-specific enough that it's not going to apply to too many things. So yeah, I think that would be really fun to play with. That's a great idea, James. Congratulations, you did it. Yeah. Let's talk about THUSKCHOON.
I fucking hate this. This makes me so uncomfortable. If I have nightmares of anything, it's going to be like this is...
But James,
I have
it's
a
only
bigger
described
image
as
on
a
my
40-foot-long slug with clattering limbs and mouths. It's not that big a deal.
None of it, nothing about it makes me that uncomfortable. But the sum of its parts is just brutal for me. I normally have a giant image on my side screen here, so I can better describe it to the listeners because our OBS window is pretty tiny. I do not have that one up. It's fine. It's like this
if you squint real hard, James, you'll see the open orifices on its underbelly that are immediately obvious.
Good. I'm chill. Just oozing for no reason. Like it looks like a fist made of rhinoceros beetle horns, like on top of a scarab.
That is so apt. If this is stemming the tide, you're gonna hear a point for that.
Pick you up on that later.
It is a fist of rhinoceros beetle horns going the wrong way. This is THUSKCHOON, Everglutton. Who resides in a vast tunnel network that connects to most of the outer rifts, but he rarely spends time there. So we got lots of tunnels and sewers, apparently. He is nearly mindless still and spends most of his time feeding on anything he can find in the deepest reaches of the rifts. He will occasionally wander into portals or connections to other planes and eventually finds himself banished from these places. Probably, this is me assuming, through a very concerted effort of the locals. I laughed as I typed that. I was like, they just said he finds himself banished. I'm like, gee, I wonder why.
What did I do?
It's like the once every 40 years the Tarask shows up. You're like, everyone's gonna band together and stop THUSKCHOON. When he digests his prey, here's the crazy thing about THUSKCHOON. When he digests his prey, he also consumes parts of their thoughts, gaining quick but vast insights as a result. So worshippers accept the mindlessness of THUSKCHOON and expect little from him. Instead, they seek the powerful secrets he sometimes accidentally reveals in the wakes of his destruction. And they will often seek,
that's cool.
They'll often seek out strange drugs in search of visions and answers to unasked questions.
So the cultists aren't actually worshiping the deity; they're worshiping the slime trail behind the slug.
Basically, it's not unlike Jubilex, where we talked about how it's not really about worshiping, it's more about tapping into a source of power. It's about acquiring something from something that doesn't care, is basically mindless, is not paying attention to you, but has something you can take from it, and it won't even care if you do. You just have to be
if I was going to choose another god and I didn't have to look at it, this would be the one. LSD and knowledge? Yes, please.
Exactly. Well, that's to say, we talked about this before. These are not outer gods. These are not dark tapestry. These are disconnected from those things. But this one is very much in that vein. Like there was a connection that's there, and I think there was a Dagon, or was it Dagon, or one of the other ones that, like, you know, that saw the honorific of their name being spilled out, and they thought it was funny, you know, and amusing, and a compliment, even though it was being applied to the wrong sort of type of creature. You have this creature. This is like super in the Cthulhian, Lovecraftian mode of, like, you know, psychedelic drugs and like weird mind-bending, thought-consuming secrets. Like you could see where that line blurs between those two subsets of quasi deities. If you wanted to, I guess, do drugs and worship this creature, you could also destroy something someone else created, working the whole hour to wreck the object as much as possible. That's a good way to worship this guy. It sounds like you got high and just had a violent episode. And this would give you a bonus to saving throws against area effects that deal hit point damage. Is quite specific for 1E. So area damage resistance is totally a thing in 2E. It seems a bit strange to have as a bonus for worshiping this creature, but I mean,
This is probably where I'd give that
the realm of possibilities.
reflex save bonus.
Yeah, that could work too. Or you could have like cleaner. A temporary. Maybe this would be too powerful. Actually, I was gonna say a temporary like on success you get a critical success instead. You could go the other route and say instead of a critical failure, you can get a failure instead. That's still very powerful, but
yeah, moving levels in the crit system is real tough. But I think a +2 to reflex saves for this I think would be reasonable.
Sure. Yeah, why not?
Yeah. Either way.
All right, let's talk about our final Qlippoth Lord, YAMASOTH, the Polymorph Plague. Also known as not also known as just the Polymorph Plague. We have a very particular realm for this one. The rest of them is just the outer rifts, or like not even there. Like it's all kind of vague. This creature resides in a place called the Kingdom of New Flesh in Secatar Sectaris. Secatar Sectaris is located at the center of Yudothrus Spiral Path, which you might remember is an insane, series of tunnels that goes entirely too deep. And it is partly ruled by YAMASOTH alongside 13 powerful warring demons. This guy is in a very strange position. The Kingdom of New Flesh is YAMASOTH's portion of this place, where he is allowed and permitted autonomy away from the demons, despite not being a demon and absolutely, 100% Qlippoth. And over in this area, he basically does research experiments. It is home to hundreds of thousands of test subjects, all taken from countless planets and flesh warped beyond recognition, even to themselves. All memories and identity are stripped from these creatures through the processes. YAMASOTH is basically a large octopus or squid, maybe. They always seem to, for some reason, Paizo and these games really love to just like pretend those two things look alike.
Yeah. What this actually looks like is one of the squids from the Matrix if it was a Venus flytrap with an eye in the middle.
Oh, absolutely. That's another hero point. It does. It looks like one of the squids from the Matrix. I did not think of that. It's got like too many tentacles basically, and they're all covered in spines. At the ends of them, they have like these like little mouthy faces and stuff. It basically has a large mouth.
Faces.
Yeah, they do a little bit. They're kind of reptilian at least.
Yeah.
The center of this like creature is like a big mouth, and in the mouth is an eye. And with a simple gaze, the eye can transform a victim into monstrous forms. It can just like flesh warp you on the spot, basically.
Oh, neat.
Yeah. So thought to be more than just a Qlippoth. It's thought to be what's called a nascent demon lord. So demon lords are described as unique versions of their own demon kind, right? And all demons start as larvae from sinful souls. Once they grow into a demon, they become something that can seek out power and reputation, evolving over time into greater and more powerful demons. Demon lords are the most powerful and successful and unique of these. I hinted at this before when we talked about how when Qlippoths kind of switch from Qlippoth to demon, they're given a free kind of pass to the process of becoming a demon lord. Their demons have to start small and build their way up. Qlippoths kind of get to jump to the front of the line. So a nascent demon lord is one that is like is a demon that's on the cusp of becoming a demon lord. It turns out that so some people believe that that's what YAMASOTH is. And this would actually put YAMASOTH in a rather unique position, kind of being between Qlippoth and demons, still a Qlippoth, not quite a demon lord, possibly in the transition of like sin almost getting him to that turning point, that full transformation. In fact, one of the horsemen of the apocalypse saw the larvae that were created by sin, formed during the formation of the current reality, along with the other planes that coming into creation, along with Pharasma's boneyard, the material universe, the cycle of souls, etc. And this horseman apocalypse was doing nothing more. Saw these larvae of sin doing nothing more than pointlessly gnawing at the outer rifts and the essence thereof. So, through a series of experiments, fed a larvae to one of the oldest Qlippoth, which is presumed to be Yamasoth, and produced the first demon. So it was, in fact, one of the horsemen of the apocalypse that did this. Yeah, it's so crazy.
I didn't even know there was in canon horsemen of the apocalypse. That's cool.
Oh,
enough,
yeah.
But...
Oh, yeah. Oh, they exist. Yeah. But the thing that happened was that the transformation then replicated itself with the other larvae of sin that existed. So the experiment is considered to be one of the greatest sins to have ever been committed, because it basically took sins in their larval form and allowed them to transform into something greater, which was demons.
Wow.
So, in fact, the idea and claim of being a demon lord really pisses Yamasoth off. Because it's like he was used in the creation of the original demons, but is definitely not one. Is definitely not one. Such a wild like origin story, I guess. Like it's so vague. It's not
really incestuous
in full detail,
too.
Right? It took some time to like find this little tidbit of information. I'm kind of glad that it ended up at the end. It literally in alphabetical order with Yamasoth starting on the Y.
Right.
That's really cool. But yeah, he hates the idea that people think he's a nascent demon lord. He hates deities of all kinds. Though he grudgingly respects some, such as Lamashtu, for her monstrous creations and the fact that she is the strongest demon lord that exists. He specifically, apparently, I didn't know that either, but apparently she's like top tier. He specifically despises Hagenti, which we mentioned before, the demon lord of alchemy and change, because both claim to be the inventor of flesh warping, and accuse the other of being a fraud. So I don't know, Yamasoth. Pride be a bit of a sin rolling around in your stick there.
Divergent creation is a real thing. It happened with the telephone. It happened with the radio. It happened with the automobile. It happened with the airplane. It's happening right now with something that I can't think of. Like,
yep.
But
AI,
even
probably.
If Hagenti created flesh warping, Yamasoth would still technically be responsible for being the progenitor of the demon race, essentially, is what I'm picking up here.
Yeah, well, that part seems to be very much true, even if an unwilling progenitor. So Hagenti's followers are usually concentrated in the Darklands, such as the Drow, while Yamasoths are on the surface of Golarion. And Yamasoth once occupied the realm of Gongarina, which is the deepest parts of Sekamina, the middle realm of the Darklands. So we talked about the lowest one earlier with Deep Tolgoth, directly below the Verizian Gulf. That his area of that second layer was directly under there.
Oh,
and yeah. So in this place, he experimented on Drow, Zolgath, countless surface creatures. And the tunnels of Gongarina ran from the ancient Thassalon city of Zin Bakrakhan, I think, all the way to Sectaris, which again, we're getting into these really blurred barriers of like Sectaris is in the outer rifts, but somehow the Darklands reach the surface of Golarion and into the outer rifts. Through the Darklands. Like, it's crazy. So Yamasoth at one point in this area, while occupying this area, specifically allied with a Lasnist. Do you know who a Lasnist is, James?
I got a pretty good idea.
It's the final rune lord of wrath. A Lasnist apprenticed under her own father, and when she surpassed him, she sought out Yamasoth. Her father warned against it, but she sacrificed him instead, along with the
also
rest of her family.
spoilers for the final AP of 1E.
Probably. I didn't even know that came from there.
It almost certainly has to.
It must be, yeah. Yeah, she sacrificed her family to Yamasoth for the greed of more arcane power, basically. And, Yamasoth gave her the knowledge of flesh warping, and she created the Reef Claws and the Sin Spawn, which are common, relatively common creatures that come up in this game. I couldn't quite find it, but perhaps this was, in fact, the beginning of the renowned Thessalonian flesh warping practices. Be my guess.
I don't think so, because she was the final Rune Lord, which leads her to the final, which I believe comes from the Return of the Rune Lord's adventure path, whereas flesh warping in Thassalon has been around for ages. It wasn't, I don't know if it was called flesh warping or if it was technically flesh warping on what we're talking about.
Sure.
But genetic experiments have been going on in Thassalon since, I think, Aslant. I think.
Now, I know there's some hardcores out there that know the answer to this, because the wording specifically that I had was, she is the final Rune Lord of Wrath, not the final Rune Lord. So she might have been the last one that covered Wrath, but I don't know when she would have died. Like, a lot of the Rune Lords have died, basically. And as far as I know, in the canon, only one of them still lives. And that's even after 1E, that's still in 2E. Only one of them still technically exists and has kind of like pulled themselves away from the Rune Lord thing, because like rune magic is its own thing, and it was mixed. Basically, that this Rune Lord has decided that it was misused based on sin and stuff. So I did go down a little bit of a rabbit hole on that, but I do not know the fine details. So it is super big, very much guesswork on my part that this was the start of Thessalonian flesh warping.
It very well
that's
could
mostly
be,
because I don't know how it would have started before this relationship, because unless it really did come from worshiping Hagenti, but that was, as we've discovered, that is more common with Drow, which Drow have their own flesh warping practices.
It could have just come from the Drow, to be honest. Like the ancients of Thassalon were eager for knowledge, so they would get it anywhere they possibly could.
That's very true.
Specifically, Sloth, I believe, was the keeper of knowledge, so it could have come from anywhere.
Yeah,
but
so
I like your take.
I would be
your take a lot.
I would be very interested to know what the timeline on that is. If someone knows, definitely hit us up in the comments or hit us up in our Discord, because I would love to know a little more detail on that. It'd be really cool. It's really tough to like sift through all of the old books and the wikis and like try and find a cohesive answer to something so tangential to Yamasoth, the polymorph.
And we came so late to Pathfinder too that we just don't have the breadth of experience there of 1E. Like, we played 1E for what, 4 years before it ended.
Yeah, I mean,
and we played very little of it.
Yeah, you played way more than I did. Yeah. So maybe that's the case. Maybe it's not. Yamasoth. So basically, Elazadus provided test subjects for Yamasoth, was part of their trade, and in return, he provided a creation of new minions for her armies. And it's thought that this adds to the timeline. I forgot about this. It is thought that without Earthfall, Yamasoth would have launched a massive invasion into Golarion, but Earthfall actually forced Yamasoth to go back to the Outer Rifts and instead of being on Golarion. Yeah, so we're going back that far. 1,000 years
not
plus.
That far. Yeah. I mean, because it. For me and the listeners, Earthfall is when the asteroid hit the inner sea region that became the Isle of Kortos. Is that correct? That Caden Kellyan built the chapel on and took the Starstone test?
Yeah. Basically, I mean, the Earthfall came in, and I think it dropped the Starstone, and it destroyed the Islandi Empire, and then not Caden Kellyan, the last Islandi god who is now dead. I forget his name. I should know it. He raised the Starstone to create the Isle of Kortos, and Caden Kellyan was one of the few who matched the test of the Starstone and became a god. But
the first, and he was drunk, I think.
Yeah, he did it on a dare or something, something silly. But the Earthfall was it was a very long time ago. It's a long time ago enough to have a one EAP about like ancient Aslanti Empire, where everything's destroyed, right? And like ancient and worth investigating as like an archaeological, mystery and find.
Yeah, I mean, I guess
and
ancient to
Thassalon
us.
is even older than that, technically.
Yeah.
If I recall correctly. So it really comes down to like, how long do you think flesh warping has existed? And do you think it's super ancient, or is it relatively modern? And that fits my theory into a good pocket. But
I like your take. I hope that's the right one. It's real good.
Yeah. So yeah, this one, Yamasoth, is a more meat than the others for sure. It's particularly because of the relationship to this Rune Lord. But yeah, Yamasoth fled back to the Outer Rifts after Earthfall, and but if you wanted to, pay homage, to this creature, you could work the flesh of your own body or the body of another into strange new shapes, and then meditate upon the sensations this shape affords. This would give you a bonus against polymorph effects and petrification, which is quite niche.
There's some precedent for that in our culture. Lip stretching, ear stretching, head binding, feet binding. Like, I guess all that would technically count.
Yep. Oh, you're giving me some real fucked up imagery now, because it says you could do it to someone else's body. You just have someone in the closet. You're binding their feet to worship.
Well, how many people stretch their own ears?
I'm already uncomfortable with my own thoughts here. It's not right. It's so messed up. But yeah, there's me and my voice going hoarse. Those are the Qlippoth lords. Brutal, alien, awesome.
Hell yeah.
That's going to be it for the current Pathfinder lore until we get into specific creatures you might actually face in Pathfinder 2nd edition. But I know James has a little extra padding for this episode. Do you want to take it away from here?
Yeah. So we're going to talk about a little something called the Hermetic Kabbalah. We touched on this a little bit in the first episode. This is essentially just the more esoteric and occult belief structure.
Mm-hmm.
So firstly, a little primer is Hermeticism, which is a philosophical and religious belief structure that combines elements of the Greek god Hermes and the Egyptian god Thoth. It's broken up into... it's broken up into 3 practices: alchemy, astrology, and theurgy, which is divine magics. Theurgy is the practical side of thaumaturgy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So thaumaturgy is the theoretical side. Theurgy is the practical side.
I mean, I assume neither is technically practical when we're talking about divine magics, but go on.
So they're all structured around the process of henosis, which is self-perfection. And this is where Qlippoths became mystical worlds or entities merged with ideas from demonology. So it all kind of started in this Hermeticism.
Oh, okay.
So we'll have a bunch of links in the description below, but as I touched on, I think in the first episode, the Vancouver Public Library is severely lacking in just regular occult text. It's a very mainstream regular religious library. Like, there isn't a single Crowley book in there, but this guy, Mathers,
okay.
They wrote a book called The Kabbalah Unveiled, which is a partial translation of Kabbalah Denute from 1684 by Krishna Nor von Rosenroth. This was intended to produce a Latin translation of the Zohar. But in this, they suggest that Adam from the Garden of Eden is in fact Jesus.
Okay.
And that the Sephiroth, the angels that we talked about that weren't the Qlippoths, the good angels, the 3 highest of those actually represent the Holy Trinity, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. So they're not extra deities. They're just part of this level of angels.
Oh, okay.
And the 3 highest Qlippoths represent the powers before Satan. I'm not 100% sure what this means, but if you look at older depictions, specifically Gustave Doré's depiction in Dante's Divine Comedy, specifically Inferno, Satan is depicted as a three-headed beast in which they chew the three traitors. So I'm wondering if the Qlippoths represent those heads.
Okay. Is that the same in the same vein as like the classic Cerberus three-headed dog kind of thing, or is that a little bit separate? Do you know?
It's probably inspired by
Sure.
or one or the other, but I'll try and find the Doré art. It's really beautiful, but
Cool.
it's also horrific. And he's chewing the three greatest traitors, which are I don't remember all three of them, but one was definitely Judas.
Okay.
The other 7 of the 10 Qlippoths correspond each to a layer of hell. So these are your demon lords or your devil lords.
Okay.
But Crowley, Aleister Crowley, occultist, magician, poet, philosopher, mountaineer, novelist, and etc., and etc.
Podcaster, if he could do it.
yeah, probably most famous for his contributions to the occult. Crowley speculated that the 3 evil forms are before Samael, or the devil, Qimithil, Belial, and Othiel. And these are higher, if you look at like Christian demonology or devilology, they're kind of all intermingled as far as I can tell. They're just the opposite of hagiology. These are the 3 highest of the devils.
Right. A Belial I've heard of. I don't know the other ones, but yeah.
Yeah, it's, you know, you've heard plenty of these
convoluted as all hell.
Yeah. So the others are orders of Qlippoth, and these were akin to the Sephiroth, but as shown in the Tree of Life. But Crowley started the foundation of something that is called the Tree of Death. It is the inverse of the Tree of Life. It's the other side of the coin.
Okay.
But a man named Kenneth Grant picked this up. Kenneth was the founder of the Typhonian Order, which is not as cool as it sounds, but they give extensive teachings on the Qlippoth Tree of Life, which is this guy right here. So this is kind of the center of the Kabbalistic, or the Hermetic Kabbalistic occultist theory. Like this all it starts from being traditionally religious and gets really, really diluted the further down and the more occult we get.
Okay.
I'm not going to explain this because it sucks. But essentially, they're all interconnected. So these are the Sephiroth that are all interconnected and have that Qlippoth counterpart. Grant, in particular, put emphasis on the underside of these and the darker aspects for a more complete spiritual package. He was never of the opinion that good is good and evil is evil. He was of the opinion that good and evil are the same. You just flip the coin.
Right.
And to that end, he formalized what we call or know of the Tree of Death. So while advocating for balance, Grant believed engaging with Qlippothic energies could lead to spiritual growth. This is what most people are talking about when they talk about satanic, sexual, or tantric magic, is trying to get in touch with these Qlippothic energies as described by Grant.
Yeah, I'm getting a lot of like it seems to be really alluding, gently referencing back to when you were talking about when Qlippoths went from angels to like primarily entities of destruction, but not evil. That's just their job, as I remember you saying. And then you have these interpretations of like, okay, they're evil forms, and then someone's going back and saying, well, evil is not evil, good is not good. And then if you slide that into like sexual and tantric practices, which have been considered morally apprehensive and terrible for entirely too long, even though, you know, it's a lot of it's just sex, you know, it's like not that big a deal.
No.
You can see where, you know, someone's blurring the line of good and evil based on maybe current moral standards of the society. I could see how all that, like, it's just such a, even though it's not a detailed, in-depth breakdown you're offering, you know, anyone who's looked into how belief systems change over time alongside society, and then you get into the occult and people don't trust it, but it still sticks around, and blah 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 blah. You pile all that together, it just makes sense. It just sort of makes sense that like this thing led to that thing, and then it came back away from it and then went back to it again, and you can see, I don't know, there's a certain pattern there that I just recognize in all so much of the research we've done for this show or for me as a person. You know, it's I know I haven't put
the same
it quite
cycle as
succinctly, but
any sort of discovery. Like somebody does something and then somebody expands upon it and adds to it and expands upon it, and this is where we get the dilution of those original theistic practices and beliefs. We get these individual opinions on how these things are to be interpreted, which, make no mistake, is how every holy text works. It is a human interpretation. Even if you believe in whatever deity, you are still following a human interpretation of their will. And that's where the danger lies, is in the human interpretation, because that can be changed and manipulated in any way that human interpreting it sees fit. We all come with our own personal biases. But this is how we take a mainstream religion and turn it into a sex cult.
Right. Yeah. It's like there is a danger in that line, like super danger in that line. Because I don't want to gloss over the fact that sex is just sex, and sexual magic and tantra practices they're all like fun and games, and it shouldn't be an issue. It can lead to extremely dangerous things.
Yeah. And
when
sexual magic specifically can lead to some pretty dangerous things, namely STDs, STIs, as well as other blood diseases, because sexual magic isn't just sexual magic. It traditionally includes the mingling of all bodily fluids, blood packs, saliva. Like it just, you are trying to become one with the other person or the other people, because I would have to guess that these aren't one-on-one, just
one-on-one.
These are events, I think. Yeah.
And that the fear I have at most when it comes to that is I was about to say non-compliance, non-consent. In those sorts of things, that's, and the danger gets real. So I don't know.
I mean, the danger gets real with anything that people believe with a fervor, with zeal. Like zealots are bad for a reason, because you believe something too strongly and you put that above the good of the people around you. That's where I think the danger is.
Well, as much as we're not here to preach about anything, there is a beauty in that perspective, because it is what has brought most of the people here to watch this video, and it is a collaborative process of telling a story regardless of where you come from and what you believe. And I think it can come really full circle in ways that surprise you, because I think it's surprising me right now with this conversation. We're here to play Pathfinder and talk about fictional stories and do it together with our varying comfort levels and our varying belief systems and our very varied input upon the telling of a story. And I think that's pretty damn cool. But you, as many people say, do it with the thought of the people around you. Don't do it as if you're by yourself or you're leading the charge. It is collaborative. It is cooperative. It is together.
You are almost never doing something that won't affect other people. That's just part of what sharing this earth is. But speaking of full circle, it is suggested that H.P. Lovecraft's Yog-Sothoth could be inspired by a Qlippoth, specifically an amalgamation of all the glowing spears and an all-knowing deity and the deity of Yuggoth, which all come from like this Typhonian order Qlippothic structure and practice.
Yog-Sothoth, very reminiscent of the name Yamasoth, I would say.
Yeah, it would be hard to suggest that a bunch of this isn't derivative.
Yeah, I really, as I was doing the preliminary research on the Qlippoth, I actually did think that maybe it was going to lead into Lovecraftian stuff, and I was surprised to find out it didn't really, and that Paizo did manage to keep that sort of separate in there again with the outer gods and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So, because the naming conventions are very, very in line, you know.
Cool. Absolutely. But I think that's going to do it here. Again, I think I mentioned it in the first episode, but there is a very, very comprehensive works cited list for this suite. I have busted my ass to source everything. I've verified almost every source I've gotten. However, not an expert on the occult, not an expert on Judaism, not an expert on Kabbalism, not an expert on Hermeticism, not an expert on any of this stuff. I'm just some idiot with a platform.
Yeah.
Who likes looking this stuff up.
Yeah.
I would love to have done more research on this occult, but it's just, it becomes cost prohibitive and time prohibitive if I've got to buy 7 books, read 7 books, then do the research. And as much as our goal is to make these episodes of more value, there's got to be a hard limit there. And unfortunately for this suite, the hard limit was the availability of occultist literature at the Vancouver Public Library. So, but I think that's going to do it for this episode. And I guess we'll see you again in a couple of weeks. But before you go, if you want to help us make these episodes and maybe you want me to read 7 books, you can help us by going over to patreon.com/unchartednorth. We got a bunch of tiers there. $5 a month is our easy intro tier. It gets you a handwritten thank you letter and some theme goodies. There are a bunch of other tiers, including a $25 tier where you can create an item for our Uncharted North Stemming the Tide campaign, where we play Pathfinder 2e's Abomination Vaults. So we got a pretty good idea of what we're talking about with some of these combats, but not a great idea. If you want to get some swag, you can head over to unchartednorth.com/merch. All the socials will be in the descriptions of whatever platform you're listening to. All the reading lists, the notes, the works cited, they'll be over on unchartednorth.com but if you just want a quick shunt there, it's encounterthis.ca. That'll just jump you right to the most recent Encounter This show and episode. And from there, you can find the works cited. They will be their own post. If you want to see the video of this, you can go over to youtube.com/@encounterpod. And rate and review on your platform of choice. If you're on the YouTube, like, subscribe, hit the bell if you want to maybe get notified when this drops. I've been told the bell doesn't really work. But thank you so much for listening. And if you can, tell a friend about us. Word of mouth is really the only way we grow. We don't pay for advertising, and I don't think we ever will. But if you want to do a trade or something like that, we're not opposed to sponsors. We've done it before with mail order dice company, whose name I can't remember off the top of my head.
Me neither.
Oh God, I feel real bad.
It's been that long.
Yeah,
I remember the guy's name. I don't remember the company.
yeah. I don't know if it's. I don't even know if it's still around. But they were great. So we're open to that stuff. You can hit us up at info@unchartednorth.ca if you want to talk about a branding opportunity or sponsorship. But that's going to do it for. Oh.
Yeah, as I continue to remind everyone that the algorithms are against us because we like to drop a few little curse words here and there. The word of mouth really does go a long way. So my only advice to you is to shit or get off the Qlippoth.
Oh, how is that where we're cutting? Oh my God! I really hope y'all come back next week. I won't blame you if you don't. I won't blame you if you don't, but I really, really hope y'all come back.
Worth it.
God damn it, Freeman.
Until next time, creatures, thanks, as always, for listening to Encounter This.